Hi there. Today is Thursday the 21st of August 2025. I did not do a weekly update this week, so this is going to kind of serve as my weekly update. I'm just going to go over the things I have been working on really quick. Not really going to go into the whole format. So I've been doing a lot of kind of fingerstyle stuff in G this week. Well, I'll start with a playthrough of the piece I've been working on long term, which is Slow as Lightning. So that's not in G, that's a 12-bar blues in E, but I'll just give you guys a quick rundown of how that's going. This is cold, I haven't practiced in a while. Well, today at least, so let's go. So I took one trip through it as written, and then I kind of improv'd on the second trip. I made it a little more chordal. I've been trying to do that lately, trying to really get the structure of the piece in now that I have the fingers now. So let's go over to the fingerstyle stuff in G that I've been working on that is a little different. Couple of these are, all right, so this is a fingerstyle arrangement, and it goes between C and G and F of Since I Laid My Burden Down, which is a traditional spiritual, and it's going to be dependent on a kind of repeating that kind of groove right there. And then of course we go into F, so hit G like this. Back to C. that has a very specific finger picking pattern, and it is something that's taken me a while to get, but the basic motif. That kind of alternate pinching around the C chord with that G string kind of syncopated. And so on. Been working on a fingerstyle arrangement of Shake That Thing by Mississippi John Hurt. And this is just kind of a vamp on the G and the G7 chords. So it kind of uses this kind of G shape for the G. So on the one beat, we hit the G. Now some arrangements have that be a pinch. Pick up that third fret of the B string. So pretty much every G measure of the song is some variant on. And so on. That song is actually played very fast, so it's going to take me a while to get there. So that's one of the things I am working on. I am also just kind of doing a lot of groove practice, for want of a better term, where I'm practicing that steady thumb. Like, let's say I'm in E right here. So I've got this finger on the second fret of the D string. So that's an E note. So hitting that low E. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can experiment with different degrees of damping. And then we add that other E note. One and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 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 and 2. Just practice adding things. So see that I was sort of bending that G note on the E string on the 4 count every time. You can also play with the flow. You can make it a 1 and 2 and 3 and sorry, that was not very good. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it has more of a swing feel to it. You're right up against that. So instead of 1 and 2, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. There's other variations you can do there too. So you're 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Put in full licks. I've got a ways to go go with that, but that is something that David Hamburger has suggested as a way to really get the rhythm part of fingerstyle blues down. So that's something I've been working on. I have done one little equipment trick that I'll show you real quick here. So this is that little short scale applause generic ovation thing that I picked up for literally 20 bucks at a pawn shop and fixed up. All right, we are basically in tune. And what I did with this here is I tuned it a full step down, then I capoed it 2 frets down. So that puts it in standard tuning, but with an even shorter scale and with even looser strings. So this is a way for me to practice my fingerstyle with minimal finger strain, so I can really focus on that rhythm. So that makes it a lot easier to really dig into those strings and focus on the rhythm. So I'm going to work on the kind of thing we were just doing. This is also small and compact, and I'm really not afraid of hurting it. And it kind of lives in this drop tuning. It makes it easy to just pick up and practice some of these pieces without a whole setup, without it being a whole operation. I'd say that's been invaluable to my practice. I would highly recommend, if you have the means, or if you're just persistent and want to go on Facebook Marketplace or into a pawn shop, find some cheap, ideally a guitar intended for children, because it will already be a shorter scale, or a junior guitar, a travel guitar, and see how loose you can get it without it getting too shaky. And just keep it by the bed, keep it with you, keep it somewhere where you'll pick it up and strum it, especially if you're a fingerstyle guy. I also use this because it's still in standard tuning. I also practice like grooves or riffs I'm working on, and I can practice in fingerstyle or with picks, but increasingly I find myself just enjoying playing with my fingers. So there's something like, there's this Dave Matthews Band song called Christmas Song, and it's really, I would say simple but not easy. There's a riff that repeats throughout the verse that goes roughly like that. Let me do that a couple more times and see if I can smooth it out. Like that. That's the repeating riff of the song. And that's hard for me to get down. That's hard for me to get under my fingers and get to rhythm. So if I just do that 5 or 6 times whenever I pick up this guitar, this is a great way for me to get reps on that. And I also find myself just sort of working through the structure of full songs with this, whether it's strummy or picky. For example, the chord progression of that song, such as it is just kind of a, that doesn't sound too good. This is a very shaky, low action, but it's reps. It's reps with where those fingers are gonna go. And I found that pretty valuable. And other things I'm working on like that, since I laid my burdens down, that, again, we're in standard tuning, so. And you can just work through something, especially something finger picky, in a very methodical, repetitive way with this. So I would highly recommend, if you have the means or a guitar lying around, and you want to set it up like this is a very valuable tool if you're trying to learn fingerstyle. If you're trying to learn anything, anything along those lines that involves a lot of those repetitive patterns of finger picking. Let me get a couple reps of my shake that thing riff here really quick. So that's. And repeat. It's a great way to work on fingering too, because if you discover something is consistently not working and then you find a way to make it work, sometimes when you're doing that kind of work, trying to figure out the optimal way to play through something, you come up with something, you forget to write it down, and you lose it. But this is a format where you can just go ahead and do it 20 times if it works. And you'll find the inefficiencies kind of take care of themselves as your mind kind of gets that soft focus and you just get into the groove. Having a hard time getting into the groove on camera, but that is an ability that you will have if you do this kind of practice, and I highly recommend you check it out. Trying to get back to the normal schedule next week. Probably going to go back to one of the alternate tunings I've done for Alternate Tuning Tuesday, and revisit that, or maybe talk about a piece I'm working on in one of those tunings, which means I really got to start working on one of those now, huh? Well, I'll get on that here. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.